We live in a time where news is 24/7 and we can see what's happening all over the world. And if we're not getting our news from the TV, then we're getting it elsewhere via social media. We can see it everywhere, on Instagram, on Twitter, on the television, on the radio, in newspapers. It is constant. It's in those emails that you get from those previously signed petitions. And as much as your heart may want to help everyone, you can't. You can't be everywhere, you can't help everyone. And I know it probably sounds a bit defeatist to say this, but unfortunately, it's true. We are naturally curious, and as social animals, we want to help each other. I know I can't help it to look up and see what's happening in the world. I like to be informed, I like to know what's going on, because for me, I feel like doing that is justice for those who have a story to tell, a story of injustice to bring attention to people. I am very empathetic to people and their emotions, and a lot of the time I will feel emotions of other people for experiences I've never experienced. And so I find myself very quickly sucked into these causes, which rightly so are causes that need attention, but I'm trying to give my attention to almost everything, and it's becoming exhausting. Of course, I'm trying to stay up to date. I'm trying to make sure that what I'm reading is actually correct and not false claims, because unfortunately, we do live in a world now where there is a lot of false information going around. And I know I'm not alone when I say that I've been seeing a lot of other people in this generation struggling a lot more. There's this feeling of fatigue and people are burning out really quickly. But here's 3 truths that have really helped me to deal with this heavy feeling of overconsumption, quickly burning out whilst trying to be in the know. Let's be honest, the news doesn't help our mental health at all, and the way that we consume media has an effect. When getting our news from traditional media, it seems very passive. You read an article, you watch the television, and you are just a receiver. But when you get your news from Twitter or Instagram, it's very active. You feel like you're actually part of that community, that movement. Of course, it's not a bad thing to be part of these movements, but of course it will have an effect on you. You'll take things a lot more personally. You'll take on board those emotions. And sometimes leaving that social media can leave you feeling very uptight and aggressive because maybe you had an interaction with someone else that didn't agree. We know that consuming news by social media is affecting our health. After the September 11 attacks, young people who consumed their news via online sources reported more PTSD symptoms than those who used traditional media. So it's no surprise that COVID news made us very anxious. I saw many tweets of people saying that they would no longer watch the daily news because it was just making them more depressed and anxious. And with having so much access to so many different news outlets and methods of getting the news, the only headlines that will make it to the front line will be the catastrophic ones, because those are the ones that we react to more than the good news. Because as sad as it is, those are the ones that grab most of our attention. Every station, every platform, every reporter is desperate for that attention. And so they will only report on the most emotionally pulling, the most shocking, which is usually negative. And of course, this causes a lot of stress. And we know from previous studies that stress has a massive effect on the body. With so much news going on, we have so much stress going on that it's no wonder that many of us are shutting down or switching off. So what can we do? Because I know for me, I don't want to switch off completely, because I still care. I still want to help those that I can help. And I feel guilty if I just switch off, because then I feel like I'm being ignorant. One thing that we can do first is to cut down on our consumption. The second thing is to also make it a bit more balanced. So there are actually plenty of news sites that only produce the good news. Have some balance and find out what is good that's going on in the world. There's a site called Tank's Good News, which I thoroughly enjoy. And one thing that it does is that it helps me to feel a little bit more stable. Yes, I know there's terrible things going on, but there's also some good things. So I don't feel like I've completely lost faith in humanity. Of course, there is a reason why we've overconsumed in the first place, and this is what I'm going to address. Number 1 is to stop trying to be right all the time. And I think it's led us to try to research a lot and to make sure that what we're saying is something that we are knowledgeable enough in. But the problem is that it's very hard sometimes to find sources where they don't try to skew you into their way of thinking. And with the fact that we know there is a lot of false information out there, it's very hard to know what's right and what isn't, what is actually going on and what we're being told is going on. Of course, this can leave us with a lot of skepticism and a lack of trust. It can also make us feel like we need to question ourselves all the time when we're doing things and that we can't switch off. I know for me that I've been watching something and suddenly a line is said that I think, is that allowed anymore? And I might be wrong, but I might be right. But the problem is the arrogance that comes with trying to be right all the time. And we can also forget that our opinions and our perspectives are shaped by our environment. Really, our opinions are never really fully our own. They come from different things that we look at. And this is something that we have to remember, especially when we're presented with someone else that doesn't have the same opinion. Neither person technically is right, but the problem is that our ego will tell us we're right. And this just leads to both people trying to speak over each other, not really listening to each other, and none of the perspective is taken into consideration. Sometimes within the situation, no one is neither right nor wrong. We need to stop trying to be right all the time because it's our ego that grows into thinking that it needs to prove itself. And thinking that we're more knowledgeable actually blinds us from having any sort of discussion with the other person. It also blinds us from realizing that we actually might be making mistakes. We've thought too highly of our own superiority that we've completely missed the lessons that we were actually meant to be learning in that interaction. The thing is, you can learn a lot from someone else without realizing that you are. And I think making these mistakes sometimes opens up more of a conversation. Of course, things can get emotional, but that's because we're taking the mistakes that we've made very, very personally. And it's such an important thing to learn to let go of, because those mistakes are what help you to become a better person. You can also have the other side where you feel like you're having to constantly question yourself because you don't know or don't think that what you're doing is right. But when you're doing it all the time, it's going to bring you down very quickly. So don't try to be right all the time, because arrogance leads us down a dark path. So be brave to make those mistakes sometimes. Truth number 2 is that being overinformed doesn't actually help. Awareness is fantastic, but it's only the first step. It's great that you can be learning about all these causes, but what's your first step? You can be empathetic, yes, but that's not always enough. You need action to go with it, and sometimes we don't always have the resources to do that, but we can find out. But the problem is that trying to learn about everything means that we're trying to pull ourselves in different directions, and this is the reality. You can't help everyone, because how do you give all your time and effort to helping all of these different causes? If you have the money, that's great, but if you don't, is there another way that you can help? If there is, do it. But if there isn't, then you're going to have to direct this to someone that does have more of an opportunity to help. You can do a lot, but not everything. And sometimes you do have to choose what battles you face. Sometimes it's small things that you can do, like using the right pronouns for other people. Sometimes it's the small things that can mean a lot for other people. At the end of the day, things do change, and we are definitely nowhere near the same as what we were 100 years ago. Change is good, so doing those small little changes that obviously don't have as much meaning to you, but do have a huge meaning to other people, is something that you can easily do. Other things might be just buying, say, an extra packet of sanitary products and donating it to charity. They are small steps, but when many people do those same small steps, there is a big accumulation. So don't underestimate the small things that you can do. But remember that you are within your own restrictions too. And as much as you want to help everyone, you have to be honest with how far you can actually go. If you're just reading to be informed, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. You're gonna feel drained and you're gonna feel anxious. So you need to find a balance of staying educated but not overwhelmed. And so this follows very nicely to my final point. The final truth that I've held quite highly in remembering what I can do is the empty cup analogy. When you pour from an empty cup, there's nothing for you to give. But when you work on filling up your own cup, then you can help someone. And I think this is especially true when it comes to our mental well-being. If you are feeling drained and you're feeling exhausted and stressed, that's not really something that you can give to someone else. And I don't think they would want that either. You need to work on yourself and make yourself feel better. You need to look after yourself. And then you can help other people. Being selfless is definitely admirable, but it's not sustainable. Sometimes you can't help someone if there's nothing in you to give. So you need to look after yourself. You need to recharge. You need to give yourself a break, because if you don't, you'll burn yourself out. And I think that's what a lot of us have ended up getting to that point. So not looking at the news does protect you. And the thing is, for me, I know I'm not gonna just never look at the news again, because I still do want to help. But I know that sometimes I need to switch it off a little bit just to give me that time to recharge myself. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you want to help others, don't forget to help yourself too. I wonder if any of this resonated with you. Do you feel like you're over-consuming, or do you feel like maybe you feel a bit guilty that you're not helping enough? Because I've definitely been there too. And this is why I wanted to make the video. You know, I've been learning myself on how to kind of calm down with everything that's going on in the world, and the fact that we do live in a world that is constantly switched on. So no wonder we can't switch off. And I think by doing this video as well, it's probably going to help a few others, because I've been seeing a lot of other people feeling this exact way when I talk with them, and I think we need to talk about it more. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you had any other thoughts, then drop a comment down below. And if you're not subscribed already, then hit that subscribe button, because I'm sure that you'll enjoy a lot of the other videos that I've got coming out soon. Anyway, that's it for me guys, and I will see you on the next video. Ciao for now.